Melissa.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
I apologize. I just want to put a Y on your name so badly.
If only I could switch, my maiden name was easy, right? So Roth is super easy. So I didn't upgrade on the name front.
I see sometimes you hyphenate and sometimes you just use Triniski. What do you prefer?
Legally, I'm Chernisky.
Okay.
So I hyphenate in my email because so many people know me as Melissa Roth, right? But also with my position with Maria, I'm hyphenating because I grew up in Washington Depot and that's her new district town. So like for people to know it's important, right? So that's where I'm at. But legally my middle name is Roth, so it's not. Jean, you're looking very different. Tech off. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I think I'm logged into the wrong thing. I don't even know. Hold on one second.
The blur thing going in the background.
Yeah, and I was like messing with the backgrounds, like I don't know, over the weekend. And I was like, oh, this blur thing is kind of cool. And then I forgot to change it back.
Well, very, very good. We still have a few minutes. I just want to tell everybody well, Miranda doesn't know Amanda Quaid. She started with our group and she's dealing with some significant health problems and she had taken a step back, and I have been in touch with her the last few days. And so she's just gonna be off the committee until she decides she can come back on. So Jean, you just, whatever you need to do to alter that membership list. But
Okay.
She's doing well. That's the good news.
That's great.
But she's trying to still clear her decks. She just wants to focus on her own recovery and treatments and everything. So that's very good. But she seemed in good spirits in the emails, at least. So anyway, and Joanne will not be here because she is a jet setter. She's in Italy. Right. So,
And I need right. I need to figure out. I need to get on the right instance of Zoom here. So you'll have to forgive me for 1 second while
you're gonna log off and log back.
Well, I think if I do that, it may.
Oh, it ends the recording. Does it matter?
No, so it doesn't. So if oops, hang on 1 second. I'm going to log off and it will probably end the meeting. But if you can all just rejoin the meeting immediately, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
We're still here. Hey, Miranda, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Miranda, do you know Melissa?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
We've actually hiked together.
Yeah.
There we are.
Apparently that was fine.
Yeah, we didn't lose ourselves. So.
All right.
Just one more minute. We're only expecting Adam. So
okay.
Adam doesn't need to hear our approval of the minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and call, actually it's 9:59. Let me give it one more minute to be official. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and call us to order at 10. And the first thing on the agenda was the approval of the minutes from our January 27th meeting, because if you'll recall, we missed our February meeting because we didn't have a quorum. So those minutes have been out there for a long time. I don't know if anybody has any corrections, but otherwise, a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to approve those minutes. I'll make that motion.
And I'll go ahead and second my own motion. All right, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so they're approved. We're waiting for Adam. Melissa, I don't know if you're aware, we are having Sustainable Connecticut and in conjunction with the Nature Conservancy had contacted us Oh, there he is.
Let me let him in.
Hi, Adam.
There. Good morning.
Good morning. Adam, we have a special guest with us today. Also, Melissa Chernisky is from, are you on the land trust and the,
I am employed by the Kent Land Trust and I'm on the Kent Conservation Commission.
Okay. So she's on both. She's going to be talking to us about pollinator pathways after we have our talk with you. But I was telling Melissa why you're here. I guess Nature Conservancy, and correct me if I mess any of this up, has teamed up with the state level Sustainable Connecticut to put on these workshops having to do with community resilience building in the face of climate change, essentially. And we're going to do this workshop next week. And Adam, as I guess the workshop director, is here to kind of tidy up some details. We had invited, well, Adam had given us kind of a list of titles of people in town that we might want to invite. And so we sent out those invitations a bit ago to like chairs of and heads of committees and various organizations around town, people in town government. So Melissa, if you don't want to listen to this for 15 minutes, you can come back or you can listen. It's up to you.
I'll stay, thanks.
Okay. So Adam, I
Yeah.
turn it over to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is our final check-in call before our workshop next Tuesday morning on the 15th. And there's a couple things we need to check in just to make sure that everything goes swimmingly, smoothly during the actual workshop itself. The one thing is more of a housekeeping check-in. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss the community characterization survey. And if I did, could I have somebody resend that to me so I can send it out to my facilitation team today?
Yes, I will resend that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Perfect. Great. I do a lot of these and I do tend to be pretty disciplined. Somehow I missed it, so my apologies. But we'll dive into that. We've been spending time with your natural hazard mitigation plan that just came out and going through your plan of conservation development. And I usually send an email to the facilitation team a week ahead so they can kind of get to know you so they come into the workshop prepped and ready. Excellent. The second piece is I'm curious as to how many people have RSVP'd at this point and what your projection is for the total number of workshop participants. And the reason I ask, I have to, I either have to add people, I have to figure out the size of my facilitation team, which means I have to call in a lot of favors.
You had kind of thought we even though we sent out a lot of invitations, you were kind of hoping for a group of around 10-ish. Is that
10's okay. 14, 16 is like a really good sweet spot. I think you had something like 24 or something like that in the original invite.
say over 30, I think, but
Over
you know,
30?
a lot of them were some of them were courtesy invites, like we weren't
Yeah.
really expecting our state rep to show up.
I like that courtesy invites. Yep. Got to do it.
Some of them were more, more probably the target audience, if you will. So, Jean, what are our numbers looking like?
We have, sorry, I went to go grab the worksheet. We have 12 yeses. And I think that we can do a little bit of, I can send it out to the remaining people who we haven't heard from. So there's a fair number of people we have not had a response from, so we can send them one more nudge.
Adam, we sent out the original invitations on the 22nd of February, and then what was this? When did we send the second one out, Jean?
I'd have to look. I want to say it was like a week later.
Yeah, a little more than a
You're a
week
little
later.
fadey, Leanna.
Yeah, I'm having an audio problem and I don't know what's going on with it.
It seems that when you sit back a little bit is when you start to fade away. Like right there is perfect.
Get in your face. Better? You know, I have a
Yes.
computer, it has a Bang & Olufsen sound system on it. I think they would do better.
Right, you would think.
You buy the expensive thing and it blows up in your face.
Right.
So we've got a good number so far, and you think we can nudge some people to at least let us know what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a good number. So 12 confirmed yeses. That includes all of you, the core team as well?
Yep.
That's total. Okay, cool. Yeah, so maybe 2, 3 more people, maybe 15 would be max, Gene. If you had to guess, is that right? Is that a
Yeah, I
good-
would say 15
okay?
max.
Cool. So we'll go with 2 small groups. And again, the way the workshop proceeds is we'll have a, the first 25 minutes or so is really about introduction. We'll go over agenda. We'll go over objectives. I'll tell people about the workshop process itself. We'll share some maps, resource packet, that kind of stuff. Around 9:30, we'll get into our small groups. And I'm going to ask you, and we'll be in the small, I'll come back to the small group assignment in a second. We'll be in the small groups from 9:30 until 11. Each small group will have its own facilitator and scribe, and each group will go through the same series of questions. So when we come back together at 11, each group will share, the conversation they had, and also share the top priorities that they realized. And then we'll look for commonalities, have a discussion around that, have a final fun exercise, and then we'll close out the meeting, the workshop before 12. So as far as the small group assignments go, I'm going to need you to take a look at the confirmed list and divide those people into 2 evenly numbered groups. And that will constitute the participant, assignments for the small groups. You can think, creatively about assignments. If you had multiple people from the same department, you'd want to spread them across. You're looking for a diversity of perspectives, like DPW with leadership, with conservation. A diversity of perspectives can really lend itself to coming up with meaningful and sometimes very creative kind of solutions as we get into identifying actions. So, and there could be some folks that you've always wanted to put together in a collaborative context, and that's also an opportunity for you as well. But we'll need that divided list by Friday so we can start planning, so I can figure out which facilitators to put with which group. And so we have that all buttoned up before we get into the workshop. So does that sound doable?
Yeah.
Okay. And, if, we get to like Monday afternoon and Gene, you get a call from somebody saying, I can make the workshop, we'll just assign them to a group, whichever group you would like. And then we'll just, we'll accommodate folks that way, just piecemeal once we have the bulk of the folks assigned.
Okay.
So that's the participant piece. If we could get that by Friday, that'd be fantastic. And then the final piece I just want to go over is the opening and the closing of the workshop, which I've found in my experience can be super important. If things need to open well, they need to close well. And if you do that, most people will walk away saying, wow, that was a fantastic experience, regardless of what was in the middle. It's like a bread with really good, a sandwich with really good bread. You remember the bread? Anyway, what is it, Friday already? I can't, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I'll send a little kind of run of show to you, Gene. I'm assuming you're going to be the principal spokesperson for Kent as we get into the workshop. So correct me if that's not the case as we go along here. So at 9 a.m., Jess LeClaire from Sustainable Connecticut will just call the workshop to order. She'll say a couple quick words, just welcome, but then she'll turn it over to you, Gene, as the spokesperson for your community, just to say a few words about the importance of today, tone and tenor. I'll send you some suggested talking points after this
Okay.
call. Today's the day. This is an important day, important topic. Please give it your all. This process really depends and thrives on you fully contributing today, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then once you say a few words, then you can turn it over to me as the lead facilitator for the facilitation team. And then I'll myself and Jess will be your principal facilitators, and we'll take it through till the close. And about 11:50, I'll formally close out the workshop program and turn it back to you, Jane, for just some thank yous, maybe some reflections if you had them, things that stood out for you, and whatever you would like to leave people with. And then it's to you to formally close out the day and just say thank you, and we're done by 12 noon.
Okay.
And I'll send you a little run of show,
That
basically
would be
just
great.
laying out everything I just said. Great. So those are my big points. The community characterization survey completed, coming my way. We've got the participant confirmation with the task of breaking folks into small groups, evenly numbered small groups. And then the opening and closing. The only other thing was I just wanted to check and make sure you got the Zoom link
Yes.
sent yesterday. Okay, cool. And I also attached a participant agenda. Sometimes people love to have an agenda before they show up at a meeting. So I figured I'd just include that for those folks.
Yes. So should we send out a reminder the day before?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Maybe it's on a Tuesday, Friday. Yeah, that would be your call. However you think people in your community would what they would appreciate the most. It's definitely like a gentle reminder with the Zoom link is always a good thing, and
Right. Yep.
with the agenda.
And the
attached.
agenda. Yeah.
Tuesday, Monday might be. Yeah, it's always a tough call because these days I think people knock off early on Fridays, or I don't know.
Right. And then you
Um,
don't want to do it on the weekend.
Right. Maybe
yeah, I think
Monday
we can-
morning? I don't know.
Yeah. Set it for Monday morning.
Yeah. Oh, it depends. Some communities are like, you might get 10 emails by Friday saying, "Where's the Zoom link? I don't have the Zoom link."
Right. Right.
You might just be like, "Oh, okay, where's the Zoom link on like Monday afternoon?" It doesn't.
Adam, would it make sense to send it on Thursday and Monday?
It never
Yeah.
hurt.
Never heard.
I think that's a great idea.
There were
Yeah.
clearly some people who, when we sent the invitations out, just didn't seem to acknowledge the first one. And when the second one came out, they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Never hurts to be annoying, Yeah, that's all I had, and just want to make sure that all of you are feeling clear and, confident as we go into this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. I can't wait to share with you the summary of findings report for Washington, your neighbor. I sent it back to Jay and their core team there. And one of the comments from one of the participants was, we mentioned we were working with Kent as well, and they were really excited about the possibility of sharing and just, seeing what each of, I have a feeling people kept saying there's going to be a lot of similarities. So we'll make sure that, you'll get Washington, and if you're okay with it, we'll share Kent with Washington. So there's some opportunities for sharing there. But
Always
that's
wanna
all I had. What's that?
We always want to share.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. We have each other. That's about it.
yeah, little towns.
Yeah. Yep. I know Colebrook is very similar where I grew up, Melissa, up in Colebrook. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have. Any questions? How you feeling about it? Feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. Sorry,
Yeah.
can I add? Leanna, is that all right? Um, it's still a warned meeting, right? I mean, I think Washington did it as a warned meeting and they did their normal procedures and all because it's a town commission.
Yeah, so I talked to Darlene about it yesterday, and because this is it's a program of the Nature Conservancy, that it wouldn't be a warrant meeting because it's their, this is their turnkey program that actually Moran, the team is participating in. Like, we're not running the program, we're not producing a report, we're not doing anything. We're actually participating in Nature Conservancy's programming. So
Adam,
we
is
did
that how the other
walk
towns are
through that
doing it?
yesterday. Well, I think, if the other towns decided to do something different, I mean, we can warn it, but I don't think that we're going to record it. Yeah, I don't know if we need to. I don't think so. And I talked to Darlene and she didn't say, well, you should warn it, do it as a warned meeting anyway.
It's a
What does
workshop.
warrant
It's
meeting
not a
mean?
meeting. It's a workshop, right? I mean, how do you?
Because you're a town commission, it's freedom of, it's governed under freedom of information. So
Oh, yeah. No,
it should be a warmed meeting.
Yeah, no other municipalities, we've never, ever had it as a formal,
Darlene just came,
Should
so our
be.
town clerk just came on the meeting. She's connecting to audio.
I mean, from Washington's minutes, it looked like it was a warned meeting and it was done the way I would have expected. So
What is a
Oh.
warned meeting?
So under hi, Darlene.
The meeting in Washington was not recorded. We record some of the small group breakouts just to make sure that we don't miss any information and then just delete it immediately afterwards.
yeah, it's not about the recording. I mean, for our town it is, but in general, it's just about keeping the minutes and being transparent and open with freedom of information.
How do you do minutes if you have breakout groups?
Right. And there's
The same.
Darlene again. Hang on. She
Fine.
may have popped off for some reason.
Yeah, the final deliverable that will return to you in draft form it's effectively minutes, it's not specific, like it's not attributed, nothing's attributed. But it's a direct reflection and we synthesize it all and return it to the municipalities for their review and modification, however they want to shift it and, make it their own. Yeah, we try to capture everything that's said, but sometimes it's, it can be overwhelming.
Hi, Dar.
Hi.
How are you?
Are you listening?
We can hear you.
me?
Yeah.
I'm on my phone, so.
Oh.
Thanks. I'm
All right.
gonna put myself on mute.
So before you do, Melissa just asked if we were going to make this a warned meeting, and you and I talked yesterday, and it was what we had talked about, and I already said this, was that this is a program that the Nature Conservancy is delivering, and we're all participants in the program. That it's the Nature Conservancy's Zoom link, it's the Nature Conservancy's agenda, it's their program, we're participants. So I think that it functions differently from this is not a Kent sustainability meeting that we're having where Adam comes to our meeting and does a presentation. We're actually attending Adam's presentation.
Right. And I think that's how you explained it. Yes. And I think we left the conversation with that. I was still not 100% sure of the differences between other types of workshops that may be or will be scheduled in the future. So I know that you had given me that explanation. And I had said, that as far as warning it, I don't understand why it could not be warned.
What is it? What are you even talking about? I don't know what this means.
So just like we warn, when you send Darlene the agenda,
Okay,
that's warning the meeting, which is under FOI a requirement for any board, commission, committee of the town, which
Okay.
we're a committee.
I mean,
So
this isn't a secret thing. We can tell people that this is happening. I don't really understand the implications of it.
yeah, it
So-
doesn't make any difference to me.
There you go.
My
Then that's the
my-
answer that leads this conversation. And Leanna, as chairman, just hit she supported the answer that I was trying to go for yesterday, is that there's no reason for it not to be warned.
Well, what is the implication of something being warned? Does that mean?
It's public,
it's-
it's a public,
right,
it's a public meeting.
right, and it's open to the
Mhm.
public and anybody can attend, which is,
But that's just
all of
it.
our
I don't
meetings are.
understand because
oh, we can't hear you.
the Nature Conservancy had us send out invitations. So if it's a workshop and just anybody can show up, then Adam can't plan for how many people are going to be
Yeah,
there.
this is not invitation. This is not public in the sense that this is an online, invitation invited workshop. When we do these in person, sometimes we'll have a gallery in the back of or in the room itself where the public can come in and observe. But if
Right.
participants are joining for the workshop, they're there for the full 3 hours. And so this is something that is invite.
I think you can still do a gallery in Zoom and make it a warned meeting, open to the public in compliance
Yep.
with FOI. So I think
we-
that it's
We're
not,
we're not technically able to do that. I have zero IT. So if people show up and they're part of your list, then we'll welcome them in certainly, and we'll put them in small groups and they'll need to participate. We're not able to manage the IT of having a gallery and all that stuff. I'm a one-person shop. So if there's a need for a gallery, I think we probably need to rethink the workshop on Tuesday.
Have other towns had this issue, Adam?
No, this is the first time it's ever come up.
I'll just point out that no one ever attends the Kent sustainability meetings. Like, it's rare for you to have someone. I watch every single meeting on replay, but it's rare for you to have an audience. So you're not really going to accommodate anyone, but you're going to continue to be in compliance with the FOI standings. So
I just am worried that, maybe people will show up and then Adam is left, in a mess. And I don't understand how, if no other town has had this issue, why it's suddenly an issue. 'Cause here we are, we've got Adam who's providing this absolutely lovely service. He said, we've never confronted this issue. And now all of a sudden we have this issue.
it's really a non-issue, Leanna. It's just more in compliance with the law. I mean, Jean called a meeting yesterday because the power went out, even though everyone was able to get back onto Zoom. So I'm just saying that you can't do one thing versus another when you're in a municipal situation. If we weren't a municipal governing group, then it would be no problem. And
So is every
sustainability
other-
doesn't need to be a municipal group.
Has every other town been out of compliance with whatever these rules are then?
It looked like Washington warned the meeting. I didn't go through and try to, watch anything or see the minutes or anything like that. I'm just
Well,
saying, I
maybe
didn't
if
look.
somebody shows up who's not on the list, we can say you can attend, but you can just be a silent onlooker. You can't
That's all I'm saying.
participate.
Yeah, I think for the sake of just moving things along, I mean, just warn the meeting, and I don't think you're gonna have, like Melissa was saying, there's not gonna, I mean, it's in the middle of the day, people are gonna be working, nobody's just,
Yeah, maybe,
let's just
maybe,
warn it. I mean, I
Maybe
think
we just
that-
don't worry about it and we'll warn it. And I don't expect a horde to show up. I mean,
yeah, maybe Jean, if you'd be willing to, if there's somebody that does show up from the larger public and doesn't appear to be on the invite list. If you'd be willing just to say a few words, something like, and those that are joining us from the greater public, if, welcome, good to have you here, and we'll try to accommodate you during this workshop. Would that be okay? Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So just to restate, consolidate some gains, what we've talked about today. So I'll be looking forward to getting the community characterization survey. We tackled the participant confirmation, and I'll look to you to break those into 2 evenly numbered groups. Jean, I'll send you a little run of show for the intro and close with titles, my title, whatever. And then you've got the Zoom link and the participant agenda. So we should be all set.
Great.
And thanks so much for all your hard work getting to this point. I'll bring a great facilitation team, and we'll make this worth everybody's while. And like I said, just quick on in case we don't get to talk about this, the deliverable, we'll take all the information from the workshop, create a summary of findings report, and return that to you for review. And then once you're comfortable with it, we'll turn that into final, and I'll CC Jess in the mix on our correspondences related to that report. And so when you're good with it, I'll return you the final, and that'll effectively count as your submittal for the points via Sustainable Connecticut as well. And I think turnaround time it'll be about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks from workshop to you getting back a draft on the summary findings.
Great. Wow, it's fast.
Great, that's all I had. As long as you feel clear and confident, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Adam, thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay,
See you on Tuesday, and if anything comes up, don't hesitate to email me.
okay, great, Adam. I appreciate it. And
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks for
Great.
me. All right.
Hi,
Bye-bye.
Adam, thank you. Darlene, question for you. So to make this whatever a warned meeting, what do we have to do that?
Just like you do any of your other sustainability meetings, is just to provide and file an agenda.
We don't
For
have
the-
an agenda. Adam is going to give us the agenda because it's not our meeting.
You can use his agenda.
Okay, but he's probably not going to give us an agenda till Friday or so. I don't know.
I'm
You
sure
have to
that
have-
I'm sure that you could wordsmith the workshop provided by the Natural Conservancy, done by Adam, time frame is such and such, overview discussion of, I think in your letter that you provided to the other boards and commissions when you extended the invite, you had a summary of what items were going to be discussed. I think you could pinpoint, those, you could use that as part of the agenda.
Okay, when do you need this?
It's Tuesday that you're
Yeah.
handling the, so then it would have to be by tomorrow, today being Wednesday, tomorrow. You probably should file it no later than tomorrow.
Okay, do we have a Zoom link for this yet, Jean?
I think he sent it out yesterday.
Oh, okay. I'll look and see again.
Darlene, I have a technical question about warning and then the agenda.
Sure.
Like, If
Sure.
we put together the agenda, I mean, is it considered a special meeting? Like, are we gonna get dinged because if we're making up the agenda and he has another agenda that he's gonna have, are we gonna get dinged if it's different than what he ultimately?
I can't imagine, and I guess I would be concerned if he went so off topic. I mean, he has a real precise program that he's presenting as a workshop. And again, I only read the letter very quickly that went out to the invitees, and it seemed very spot on, those top 6 items that were going to be what you all were being presented and participating in. It's not like you're going to go from talking about subject A, you're not going to jump into something so different that it won't be covered by those generic suggestions.
Darlene, it
That's
isn't-
my,
It is a workshop, so you never know what somebody's gonna bring up.
I mean, if you simply
But
put the
those are
title of the
opinions.
workshop, if you put
Those
the
are
title of the
opinions and
workshop
feedback.
and yeah, and the fact that it's going to be broken out into small groups, you're sufficient. It's
Okay.
basically that people want to know that there's a workshop happening and the Zoom link if they want to watch. It's pretty straightforward. You're not going to be planning any nature hikes or anything that's going to go so off topic that people are going to be like, where does that fall?
And Miranda, did you have another question?
Nope, that took
No.
care of it.
Okay.
How do I notice it then as just something, what is a special meeting? Is that what you called it?
Yes.
What's a special meeting?
I'm happy
they're
to,
all-
I'm happy to warn the meeting and put together the agenda based on his, if that would clear things up, I can just do that. And
Yeah,
Well,
because it sounds like you have a much better idea what this all is than I do, so.
and it
Thank
goes
you.
back to the fact that if you just plan when your meetings are, and then in a month, all your meetings could be regular meetings as long as you meet on the same day and the same time as you said. So
Right,
you
but this
can
is a-
turn these into regular meetings eventually, but this one would never be, and your first meetings within the month. But you can make things a lot easier for yourself so that you can amend your agendas.
I
right.
have no idea what you're talking about, but maybe we'll talk about it some other time, because this like.
Anyway,
Yeah,
well, to
we
move
can have
to move
another-
things along, I think to move things along, I will do the agenda and warn the meeting.
Okay,
And yeah, and then we'll do that. And then we'll be all set.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that. You can tell I have always had a secretary my entire life. She was fabulous. Send me to the courtroom, keep my secretary. But anyway, okay, I had a quick question though, back on the guest list, Jean, and maybe you can tell me, because we got like about 10 days after the first invitations went out, there was a lady from, I guess she got a dual invitation as head of like the land trust and head of the conservation commission, saying she couldn't come and would we please reschedule the whole workshop. And I said, you know, the original invitation said, if you can't come, please assign a designee. And she didn't seem to want to do that. And I specifically said, and if there are people from the land trust or the conservation commission that we should invite in your stead, please send their names and emails, which she never did. Did anybody from either of those commissions
So we
write
have,
in?
Joyce added Wendy Murphy. Let me see.
Okay. Is
Connie
she on
did.
one of-
Connie did send out the invitation to the Conservation Commission, and Wendy stepped forward to put her name in, and Wendy
Yes.
is also on the board of the Kent Land Trust.
Oh, so we do have that covered.
Yep.
Because
She's coming.
So
we have an actual conference on that day, so everyone in conservation is kind of tied up if they're going to this conference, so which is an annual thing. So
Okay. So anyway, yeah.
is she coming with her land trust hat or her conservation hat?
Or both.
Do you know? Because it
I'm
doesn't
not
say.
sure she knows how to take those two hats off.
So we
Just
can
wanted to
just
make sure we had
put
some
both.
coverage here, because I never heard back from her if she was gonna designate anybody or not. So I'm glad to hear somebody's coming.
That'll be great. And it's a bonus that she'll have both hats on.
Okay, very good. All right. Melissa has come actually not to talk about rules and forms, but she's here to talk about pollinator pathways. And I had forwarded everybody a resolution. I guess, who actually put that resolution together, Melissa?
I have a short presentation. If I can share my screen, I will go into exactly that.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yep.
If I can figure out how to share my screen. Hold on. Nope. I might not be able to do this as fast as I want. You might get to see everything in my... Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. It is not working how I would expect, but we're gonna go with
There
it.
you go.
All right.
Perfect.
All right, great. So the Kent Pollinator Pathway was started last year, and we just a little bit quick about it. We started it last year. We had a college intern that we hired named Whitney Troy. She came on to us from Holyoke College as a part-time intern, and they paid her actually to implement this program in Kent, which was really cool. She's a native plant nerd. I think she would like to be referred to in that frame. And so she taught us a lot, but it was a fun summer. And so she stood up this program for the town and for the land trust. And just a little bit about what we all did. We did some education. We participated in Make Music Day. We were out there at the farmers market every week. We participated in Second Saturday, summer sale days. We also have implemented pollinator pathways on our own properties, the Kent Land Trust preserves. So you can see a working laboratory in the East Kent Hamlet Nature Preserve. You can see a little pollinator garden at the Claire Murphy Riverwalk. You can see some examples of pollinators and pollinator gardening in the community garden, which we run for the town. And coming up this year, we will participate in No Mow May. So
Where is the community garden? I don't think I know where.
sure.
it is.
So the community garden is kind of behind Kent Center School. The property there is we own. And so if you go to the left of that blue silo and follow that little road back towards the playground, on the left is our property, and we for a very small fee rent little plots to community members who have a like mind in interest in gardening, and maybe they don't have property at their own house, or they really just like the community aspect of it.
Are these like victory gardens?
Are they like what?
Victory gardens.
So a little bit. Some people do donate back to the food pantry. So the church, I want to say St. Andrews, but I might have the churches messed up, has one of the plots or two of the plots, and they take turns gardening the plot, and they donate all of their products back. It's a little of everything, Leanna, and it's a really great community group. So these people, they have potlucks together. We're invited to. They share their plant seedlings. It's just kind of a fun little group that has grown, and new people get added every year. So it's not an exclusive club by any means. Anyone who emails us, we give them a plot. So it's a very nominal fee, what it costs. So the main idea of the pollinator pathway is to create continuous corridors of pollinator-friendly plants from both private and public lands. It's a national project, so it's not just Kent, Connecticut, or anything. It's a national across the whole United States. It might even be international at this point, but I'm not sure. And one of the key factors is just educating our community and educating people on what are best practices, because many of us know what we think we know, but we're not even sure if that's the best practice. And so, giving knowledge is key to this whole project. So here's a little map. This was back in, I think I took this picture in December. We have about 25 plus households. It's a Google map. This is Kent. You can see each little butterfly is a household that is signed up to be pollinator friendly. So no spraying, keeping their grass longer, not doing much yard maintenance for the fall. So leaving things there, leaving things in place. So this is a 1 year progress. So we've collaborated with all kinds of people throughout the town. You can just see some of them on the side. Marble Valley Farm is the farm that is on our property. We have our office at the big red barn with the logo on it, and Marble Valley Farm leases from us, and they're a big partner with us. So last year we worked towards food security in Kent. We donated 40 shares weekly of farm fresh vegetables from Marble Valley for 26 weeks. So every family who needed food benefits of the food bank in our town got a package of fresh vegetables every week from the food bank. So when they picked up their food share, they got all their fresh vegetables, and we collected donations for that and subsidized that program.
Melissa, is Marble Valley Farm, is that privately owned or is that somehow in conjunction with the land trust or?
So Megan owns it. Megan the Haney, the farmer, owns it, and she leases the property from us.
Okay.
So it's a land trust initiative. She leases the property, so it's continued to be farmland. So going forward, as Jean mentioned in her newsletter, we are going to participate in No Mow May at the Claire Murphy Riverwalk Preserve. Leaving the mower in the shed. Yes, it will cost us a little more money come June because our yard crew will have to mow the property probably a little extra time, but so worth it because all the early pollinators need this these benefits of the foraging that the lawn provides. So we have committed to do that at the Claire Murphy Riverwalk, which truly is our only grass that we mow.
I have another question about the mowing. I, as a survivor of Lyme disease, but unfortunately left with a heart condition from it, luckily mild, but nonetheless, how do you reconcile not mowing with the tick problem in our area?
So I think that the amount of time in May, the grass is not going to get to your waist. It's not going to get high. We're always in this area trained to be tick aware and do tick checks after every single hike, after going, even just bringing the garbage out, you should be checking yourself for ticks before you go to bed or when you get into the shower. So I hear you and I do get it, but I also think that there are ways that you would still be checking yourself for ticks regardless of where your lawn is. And truly the amount the lawn is going to go up is not going to be so significant. Depending on the spring, you're not going to have a field that you have to weed whack. You're going to,
because I look at mine, I found my tick right away, but unfortunately in the attempt to remove it, I broke its head off and there was nothing I could do.
yeah, I
Except-
think that's more about just living in our area and kind of a factor of life that we should all be doing vigilant tick checks.
I just remember that, like the doctor said, make sure your lawn is mowed. So that kind of popped into my head when you started talking about it. Like that.
Sure, and I'll get into it in a little bit, but we hosted a webinar of Doug Ptolemy, who also has a program called Backyard. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Homegrown National Park, and he actually advises that you just do what he calls beauty strips, mowing paths in your yard and keeping the yard pretty wild. Our idea of yards needs to meet in the middle, safety and what our ideal vision of what a yard looks like needs to kind of adapt a little bit. So yes, there's a little bit of compromise there, but it's not going to it's not going to make a huge difference because you're still going to be vigilant of tick checks. So the resolution that I sent out as Leanna got started to bring into it is a boilerplate. It is similar to towns across our area. Washington has one, Wilton has one, Lyme has one. Lots of various towns have approved this already. We didn't veer off the boilerplate, and we hope that the Kent Conservation Team will endorse it, and so that we can then move forward with having it adopted by the Board of Selectmen. So the Conservation Commission unanimously adopted it in the February 8th meeting. They definitely scrutinized it and made some changes, but not too much. They liked it. And then the
Great.
garden club has since reviewed it, and they are taking a vote. They don't meet during the winter months, so taking a vote is a little harder, and they haven't gotten back to me with their results, but the president was very in favor of it. So one of the other things we're going to do, and we have always done, is minimal fall maintenance. Again, leaving the leaves in place gives places for bugs, insects, everyone to hibernate, but also to be hidden away from the elements. Actually, Miranda, I think you were on that one on the left there. I think that was our hike together. I don't think that's you, but I think you were on that hike. So again, yeah, we hosted Doug Ptolemy. He has his own separate from Pollinator Pathway organization, but the principles are very similar. He says minimal mowing, minimal yard maintenance, plant natives, similar to Pollinator Pathway, but he also says plant specific species of natives because they will attract specific bugs, insects, and amphibians. So this is available on our YouTube page, on the Kent Land Trust YouTube page, and it's definitely worth a listen because he speaks in a way that is very digestible to anyone listening, and it really spoke to me. We had about 100 people in the webinar, all very, just very interested. And then since then, lots of people have watched it on our YouTube channel. So
I watched it yesterday and I can tell you it's well worth it. It was very enjoyable and people asked some very insightful questions at the end, but his presentation is very kind of folksy almost. He really makes it, a child could watch it and understand it. It's, he doesn't, he teaches you some population statistics and whatnot, but nobody has to. He's very, very easy to understand, and he's got his theses for his program, and they're quite clear.
I agree. I first talked to him over the summer. I went to a webinar of his, and I was like, "Oh, I'm hooked." Right? I'm hooked. And then we found out his CEO of the Homegrown National Park lives in Sharon. Didn't even know that. So there's just all this connection to our area. We're not the first to adopt this resolution, but we should do it. There's no question in my mind. This is the right direction that Kent should go in, that it's just in sitting and talking to people at the farmers market at Second Saturday in Marble Valley, people are interested. They're ready to make changes in their own properties, and they want to see changes throughout our town. And they know that the impact that one individual can make can go a long way. So I hope you'll make a motion to adopt the resolution as we presented.
I will make that motion.
Did everybody get a chance to look at it, actually, to make sure, because we sent it out. And I just want to say, Melissa.
We should second the motion.
Yeah, I'll second the emotion.
Both of those things, the motion and the emotion behind it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Melissa, I have a question for you because I don't know if you're aware of this, but Sustainable Connecticut, the whole program is about trying to implement things in your community that help your community, and it runs the gamut. It has to do with local economics. It has to do with affordable housing, homelessness prevention, access to medical care, and there is an environmental component to it too. One of the areas deals with the environment, and one of the areas is have your Board of Selectmen pass a Pollinator Pathways resolution.
That's why I'm here, Leanna. That's why I'm here. Jean can tell you that we, the Kent Conservation Commission, brought Sustainable CT to the town many moons ago. It was before Jean was even a selectman.
Oh, okay.
And we said, we think this is important. We know that this is beyond the conservation's bandwidth to manage, because exactly what you just said, it encompasses environment, but it encompasses everything. It really is
Yeah.
outside our bounds in
Well, I
many
think-
aspects. So we are very, at the Conservation Commission, we are very aware of the work that needs to get
Yeah.
done, and we are very aware of what you all are doing. In
Mhm.
fact, we have it on our agenda every single month that we hope that one of these times you all will come to our meetings. We also ask for an update when Jean is able to make it to our meetings. So
That's good to know, because I was not aware of that, and I'm thrilled to hear it. So you won't be thinking we're stepping on toes if we submit then, once this, assuming this gets passed by the Board of Selectmen, if we submit it to Sustainable Connecticut on behalf of the town. That'll
no,
be
we,
okay.
we hope
Yeah.
that that will, that's our,
Uh-huh.
that's our
Okay.
intent at the Land Trust and at the Conservation Commission. And we would hope that you would submit it to us first, us at the Kent Land Trust for review first, because we might be able to add to what all we have done. But
No,
yes, we hope that
just-
you would,
Yeah, because the one action item specifically says to have your Board of Selectmen pass a resolution, turn it in. So we
Yeah.
would just then turn in that resolution. And
We
then
understand.
also, yeah, there are other components of it are, community education. So if we could get the pamphlets and handouts that you've been giving out, we could turn them in also.
absolutely,
But
we
not
just,
really, yeah, there's not a lot of explanation as so much as here they are, we think they meet the requirements of your, 12.2. And
Yep. in
please-
fact,
yeah,
I brought round, so we had Whitney as our first intern, and then we had Luch for a little bit, who I brought around to the town hall and everywhere around town, and she left all of the brochures for Jean, so she should have all that stuff.
okay, great. So we can turn that in. Yeah, because we've, Sustainable Connecticut always gives each group a liaison, and unfortunately our liaison has just left. So I'm going to have to contact Jess to see if they're giving us a new liaison. So
The
or
one-
whether we get one.
The one step that still needs to be done, and I'm working on it this week, is the webpage. So it will live on the Kent Land Trust website. We will then have a link on the Kent Conservation Commission page to go to the Kent Land Trust and to go to Pollinator Pathway. So we just
We
have
could
that
do
one
this.
little bit.
Yeah, we can do the
Maybe
same,
you could-
create a
Yeah. and
Um,
maybe we could-
It's just a
pathway
link.
from that.
You know, just the little butterfly to go to the Kent Land Trust page, which will have all the information and the resolution and all that. And
Yep.
then I have to turn it into Pollinator Pathway, and they'll make our little link a hyperlink again.
Maybe we could put something in the town newsletter about it.
Oh,
Jean
yeah.
did put, so
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely. Jean did put the no mow May. I think there's more to it than just the one statement in the town that could benefit for the town newsletter. But I also think, if you look, I can show it again, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe.
so we're actually gonna do it's gonna be in there for 3 months. This month was just a mention, next month will be a deeper mention, and then the one that's the first of, the first one in May will be
If
um,
you,
another reminder to people. Melissa, can you send me a PDF of that pollinator pathway brochure?
yeah, I just wanted to show one more. So this, can you see that? The no mow May sign?
Yeah, if you can send that.
Yeah, so I
PDF
think
to
that we're gonna
JPEG
get,
or whatever.
I think we're gonna get this printed and have it on various properties, and I would recommend that the town also, I mean, I can order them and the town can reimburse, but I think that the town should put on this, on their properties that are no mow, this same signage. I'm gonna add a QR code once the website is up, once the webpage is up, that will link to that, so it'll explain what the reasoning is behind no mow May.
Melissa, I've seen in some communities that were doing this last year, they actually had those signs and they did them almost like, candidate signs.
Yep, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, they had them kind of on those little stanchions in their yards, like you would have your Maria Horn sign, or
Yeah,
something.
so I've already talked to Shelley Harms in Goshen and Cornwall and Norfolk. She is the executive director of various land trusts, but I also know her fairly well. She's interested in using the same designed sign, and Katie Frygang, also in Cornwall, is interested in using. So I think there's this continuity that we can create with the signage that will answer any of those questions, because we definitely, when we sent over the request to our lawn guy for the land trust, he did say, "What's this about? What's this mean?" And we, I responded and gave him a good bit of knowledge that he can share with his clients if they too want to be more pollinator native plant friendly. So it's our hope that any work that is done on the town property that will come with a vein of pollinator friendly approach. So
You definitely probably want to put signs up on town property because some people will complain and say, what's this all about? It's tourist season. Why aren't we mowing our yard?
But I think that having a QR code on that sign that leads right to good solid explanation is the key to continuing this education. And we will be back at the farmers market this year. We will be back at Second Saturday and sale days and anywhere people want us, we will be back.
I'd still like to speak for the elderly among us as I enter my own dotage. I only found out what a QR code was like last week. So I've always wondered what those things were.
You mean when you went to go get COVID tested? They forced you to learn about it there.
I learned about it because I went into a place to get carry out and I asked to see a menu. And they said, you have to take a photo of this thing with your cell phone to see a menu. And I'm like, what?
Oh, yep.
I've never heard of such a thing. And then, of course, now my son is home from college on spring break and I shared my great new knowledge. And of course, he's still laughing on the floor at me.
Right.
But I grew up in the era of the phone on the wall in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think the QR code for those in the know and it's a good tool, and I do think that those that aren't familiar with QR codes will probably just Google No Mow May, and things will come up.
Right.
I probably will add the actual URL once I have it when I add the QR code. So.
No,
Yeah, Leanne, QR codes are great because they can also, if you know how, they actually collect data. And they can tell you how much traffic you had from that QR code. So you know how many people are visiting your website based on that QR code. So, and it's a really very compact, simple way to share your
it
web
always amazes
information.
me. But, I'm the person who grew up on a manual typewriter, and
Right.
I had the most wonderful secretary my entire working life. So I'm never worried with such things. But I'm just always amazed what new technology is out there. So anyway, I think this is marvelous, Melissa, and I applaud your group and your efforts.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think
You can send me those two PDFs, Melissa, of the brochure and of the sign.
So you want the Google Slides program or the brochures that we have? Because we have like a tote full of like information that we put on our tables. I'm not really
The
sure.
pollinator pathway brochure in a PDF.
Okay, we have two because we have a spring one and then we have a fall one.
Probably
The
the
spring one,
Yeah.
the spring one is actually our intern Whitney grabbed it right from the Pollinator Pathway website. It's not, she did not customize it. The fall one I made myself. So I don't know which you
I would
really
say the
what
spring
you're-
one probably,
Okay.
because it's spring.
Okay.
And then
But to
the
include in the newsletter,
sign.
is that what is that your
Yeah.
goal?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as what we submit for Sustainable Connecticut, their materials are thorough, but also sometimes a little vague. They just want to see that you're working on stuff, I think, more than anything. And so anything we submit would be great. Even the photos of the people at your table and the Halloween costumes, they love that kind of stuff. So,
Well, that's why I'm thinking you probably could use just the
presentation
for that
is
you could use the
great. Yeah.
presentation, and then I also think you need to dig a little deeper, but I think the community garden checks off a box.
Oh, definitely. it does.
We've been doing that for eons. I mean, truly, that's been going for a long time.
I can take some pictures of it, or you're the camera, you like to take pictures, so maybe you have some photos of the community garden.
I don't actually have too many photos of the community garden, but obviously it will, come July, August, it'll be in its prime.
Right now, it's probably not much to look at.
No, and we have not taken membership for this year. But the information is on our website for people to contact our office manager. So, and we're all part-time. So the employees at the Land Trust, we're 4 part-time employees. We work our butts off, but we are part-time. So.
Because it talks about pollinator gardens in our materials. So I don't know if that.
We have the pollinator garden at the Claire Murphy Riverwalk, and we have a learning laboratory pollinator beginning of a garden at the East Kent Hamlet Nature Preserve.
You have photos of those.
We have some photos of those, yes.
Okay. If you could get us those photos of the pollinator gardens specifically, we could turn those in and see what they do with them. So,
yeah, I think that, I'll send you some stuff, but you're going to have to continue to ask me for whatever specific, because I can definitely send you stuff, but I might oversend and not get you what you're looking for.
No, we'll go through it, obviously. Send what you think, and I can send you kind of the vague list of what you're looking for, and you can see what you think you have. So,
sure.
Melissa, my gosh, thank you so much. That
You're
was
welcome.
really wonderful. We appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's kind of a no-brainer. We should be doing all these things, and it's great.
Yeah. Thanks for all this time, Melissa. It's great.
Okay, I don't know if you want to hang around for the rest of our meeting.
I'm going to stick around, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda, you don't have anything else, right, Melissa? Is that it? Okay. The next thing on our agenda, and I don't know what we're going to do about this, the Poet Laureate, we kind of had tabled that because Amanda had worked on that. And I don't know if you know Amanda Miranda, sorry about that. But she's had started with our group, but she's got a health crisis, and she'd stepped away, and she's not going to be coming back, at least for a while. Maybe, I don't know what her plans are going to be. So I'm going to try to get whatever she had on that, Jean, and we'll have to try to revive all that, see what she had been doing. So while I have it on the agenda, there's not a lot to say right now, other than I just wanted to address the fact that, Amanda, she did tell me that her treatments are going well. And I told her we were rooting for her. And she said, but at this time, she said, I'm just not doing things. I'm doing me. And I said, I completely understand. Nobody faults you for that. So I don't know what we want to do with that. Jean, if you have any thoughts on that whole matter, we can, we need to put our thinking caps on there, but I need to get from her what she was working on. And that's my next step. And it may take a while because, I don't really know how, healthy her days are, if she's going to get me stuff rapidly, if it's going to be slow. So I think we're just going to have to wait on that until we have her materials and see where we can pick up. Does that sound?
That sounds like a good plan.
Everybody. Any other actions that anybody may have been working on or has ideas on or thoughts on, or this is, and I guess it kind of combines with the new business. Speak now. I know I have a couple things I'd like to talk about. Number one,
I guess my under that, if I had spoken to Connie and I think Melissa, I mentioned it briefly, that we were gonna, all three of us, or I know that because Joanne's out of the country, all three of us would try to make it to the conservation meeting that is tonight.
Right, it's tonight.
I will definitely be there and give them an update, but if Miranda and obviously the whole group if they can be
Yeah, I
there.
don't
I think
think
it
I
would be
can
nice
do-
to put some faces together so we can really start collaborating with.
I agree. It would be really nice. I
Commission.
think the commission is waiting to have you guys come and just join us. You know,
Let's
most people
do-
work, so it's hard for them to come, for us to come to your meeting
Mhm.
because it's at 10 in the morning on a weekday. But so it's, you know, your meeting is a bit of a stretch, but we meet tonight at 7, and I would really hope that you know, if you could make an effort to come to one of our meetings, I think the commissioners would appreciate just.
Can you send us a Zoom link for it? Or is
You
it-
lean in
Yeah.
a little bit, you're a little muffled.
I can send the agenda, but it's listed on the town website just like any other town meeting because it's been warned. It all comes circled.
I'll
You
shoot
said I'm
over
not
the link.
details person. So this is a Zoom?
It is Zoom tonight at 7. Yeah.
Yeah, because my son is home on spring break and he has his girlfriend and I don't think I'm going to be available this
Okay.
month. But I will try. I might not come. If I am able to do it, I might not do it on video because you don't need to see what's going on, I guess. But I am unclear what's going on tonight. I haven't gotten an answer. So
We have a
Well,
full agenda, but I think you'll be impressed and interested in many of the items on the agenda because they all do, by nature of what we do at the Kent Conservation Commission, it does relate back to many of the items on sustainable CT. So
very
I
good.
will certainly do my best to make it. It's a little tricky with the little kids, getting them to bed and whatnot, but I will try to sit down on at least a portion of it.
thanks, Miranda. Thank you.
And I'll be there for the whole thing.
Okay, very good. Are you going to bring it back up? Jean and I and Joanne attended the equity training under Action 1 on the Sustainable Connecticut stuff. And Jean, we still need, in order to get the credit for it, somebody who's in town government, who's not you, because you've already done it, but somebody who's like they talk about like department heads. We need to try to see if we can get somebody to attend the next round of equity training. If we're
Yeah,
going to
and-
get the credit for that.
Since Darlene's on, I'm wondering, Darlene, would you be interested in attending? It's 2 hour? I forget.
It was, I think
The
they were 3
time
hours. It was
investment.
three workshops. It's one of like they schedule them when they do, but it's usually one a month. And I believe they were 3 hours each. And their
They were-
workshops.
They were amazing.
They were amazing. It's run by a psychologist who specializes in issues of equity. And it was fascinating. And you do breakout groups and people from all over the state who are either like people like me, just community volunteers, elected officials,
Town managers.
and department heads. And so there's just, and from all over the state. So such a wide variety of experience and knowledge. And so you've got people of all walks of life and all age groups who've lived through all different things. Trying to explain the Cold War to my son lately, kind of fascinating, how you've got people who are near retirement, you've got people who are just starting out. It was really, I thought, an amazing experience. There's no homework or anything. You just go, you listen, you participate, and it was actually fun. I don't know, Jean, would you agree?
I thought it was, and Miranda, you attended one, right?
Yep, I did one. And it was good.
So you know what I can do? We can put some information together and send it out to all the department heads and see who would like to go, just to ask everybody.
There's no charge to participate or anything.
Right.
It's free.
Right. Does that sound like a plan? Darlene, does that make sense? Being a department head? She went on mute. I have someone here. Oh, she has somebody. She's providing service in the UFIS.
Sounds good. Because we still have to do our equity toolkit. In order for us to ever get the bronze certification, I mean, because it's daunting for a group our size and it's daunting for people in a town our size. There's the 12 action areas. Not only do we have to complete an action in each of those 12 areas, which is a lot, we also have to apply the equity toolkit to one of those. And I don't know if everybody knows what that is or remembers, so I'm going to jog your memory. The idea of the equity toolkit is that a lot of people who go out there and try to be do-gooders for the world have their own ideas about what their community needs without actually consulting their community to find out what they do actually need. And the idea of the equity toolkit is to identify what is our community? Who is Kent? What are the different groups in Kent of, demographically, economically, ethnically, the whole thing, what describes Kent? And I know we do have some data on that from I think the 2010 census. Jean, do we have anything from 2020 yet?
Their census, that data has been published.
Okay, so we have an idea of what is in our community, but they want us to kind of go out and literally canvas the community, bring some groups together and say, instead of us telling you what you need, how about you tell us what you think you need? Because what a concept to do that, right? I mean, and it so often doesn't happen. It seems obvious that, if you think that there's a community in need in your town or a subgroup in your town that needs assistance or help, or you should ask them what they need instead of telling them what they need. So that's kind of the point of the equity toolkit. And we have to use an equity toolkit with at least one of the actions in order to get our certification. So I'm going to talk to Jessica about that, because when you read through the equity toolkit, and I believe it to have been left intentionally vague because it's supposed to apply to New Haven, to Hartford, to Kent, to Fairfield, to Greenwich. It's hard to say this is how you have to run your equity toolkit because every town is so different. So I'm going to talk to Jess about how do we build our equity toolkit for a town our size, since she kind of specializes in our part of the state, and I'm sure she's done it already, so that we can try to get that done. I know it says it takes, they're talking about like a half a year to do the toolkit. So, I mean, we may have to do surveys, Zoom focus groups. I don't know. I'm going to talk to Jess and see what she suggests, but I'd like to get that show on the road. And then, they say you have to apply it to one of those actions and try to figure out what makes sense. I know she had brought up one community during the pandemic, the elderly were afraid to go shopping, and they tried to set up a farmer's market just for elderly people. And give them special hours and extra space and everything like that. And they conducted surveys to find out from the elderly during the pandemic, what were they needing? What were they missing? That was an example of one. But I'm going to try to pick her brain a little bit for some more concrete direction. Because if you read through the equity toolkit, it's, like I said, I think it's intentionally vague. So I'm going to try to get her to flesh that out a little bit with us.
Can I make a suggestion of maybe an idea?
Sure.
What about bilingual signage at some of our town facilities, the tennis courts, the Emery Park, Kent Common Park? I mean, we do have a significant portion of our population that is Spanish speaking, and adding signage that is bilingual would make it a lot more accessible to many of our population here.
Exactly, and I think that's a good idea. But within the equity toolkit, we would need to gather the bilingual community and actually ask them, what do you need from Kent to be more, have greater success here?
I would say that we have made a substantial change in our kiosks to add bilingual signage. It will
Mhm.
actually go up
Right.
as soon as spring hits. It's all set. And we worked with literacy volunteers in the green.
Oh, no, I'm
Um,
sure that that would be a fantastic thing, but as far as the equity toolkit is concerned, instead of us telling them you need bilingual signs, we would need to meet with the bilingual community and say, what can Kent do to help your lives be more successful? And then take from them what they would like to see done.
For sure. We had some really positive
Yeah.
feedback just last week on our President's Day hike where actually some members of that community came and they said this is the first time we've hiked because it was accessible to us. So it was really
Yeah.
exciting.
So, and that makes tremendous sense because I kind of get the impression that, Kent being, we have so many people who are not full-time here. It's kind of hard to kind of pin our town down, and, and even some of the actions, like one of the action areas we have to work with, it says dealing with homelessness. And I said, do we have homeless people in Kent? What I kind of found out, at least from Leah before she left, was we don't really have homeless people, but we have some people who are on the edge. And so trying to reach out to that community and find out, what is putting you on the edge? Is it retirees? Is it younger people not finding jobs? Is it finding jobs that don't pay well? Is it, what's the source of the problem and what can we do to prevent homelessness? That kind of thing. So I'm going to try to take a deep dive into it with Jessica and then report back on, if she has ideas about how to reach out, how to identify the communities in need and then how to reach out to them and then how to get from them what their needs are, rather than us just saying, oh, there's a community over there and me sitting in my house with a swimming pool, I'm going to tell you what you need. That's exactly what they don't want us to do. So I'm excited about that. And I'm hoping that that will be something we could all dive into, again, with surveys and things like that. But I think I'm going to definitely reach out to Jessica to see about maybe even coming to one of our meetings. Because like I said, I think we've been hesitating to do this toolkit because their descriptions of it are so vague. So I'm going to try and get her to pin it down. And I'm wondering, because we have some of the action items have to do with healthcare. Jean, do we have any updates on the telehealth or any of that?
No, just, I actually have I think, yeah, I have an update for the chief elected officials with Sharon Hospital this week. So that I'll get more information, but we have I've sort of started the conversation again with community with health and wellness up in Torrington that provides the Betty vehicle. It's a mobile medical unit. And I just sort of let the board know at our last meeting that we're going to have her come to the next Board of Selectmen meeting to really do a presentation on this unit to see if we can collaborate with them to have it come to provide some services, probably twice a week
Mhm.
to our townspeople.
Mhm.
So a little bit, nothing on telehealth, unfortunately.
And at one point we were, and I don't know if this ever got anywhere off the ground, but like trying to get some kind of like transportation for some of the elderly people to get to doctors out of town. I don't know if that, I know
Yeah,
that it kind of messed all that up, so.
there are a couple of options. There's through Northwest Transit District. We need to really, and this is going to help with when we get our social services director in place. We need to sort of loop back with them. They have a new director also. So there was a bit of a hiccup in their organization for a while, but their new director's been on board for a couple months now. And really just gel and understand and educate the community on what's available as far as public transportation, because there are a couple of options, but I think a lot of it is that there's an education gap that people don't know.
Mhm.
So, but social services, when they come on board, I think that should be one of their priorities. They have a long priority list.
How is that search going?
I believe they're getting close. They have a meeting Friday afternoon.
Mhm.
So, fingers crossed, they're getting close to making decision. And Judy Sheridan is doing a great job as the interim. But there's only so much that she can do in the hours that she has in her days. So,
And so I just, not to rush things along, there's an early dismissal.
oh geez.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get going pretty soon. So if there's anything,
You know, the way we've been trying to do things, because these projects are enormous.
Can you lean in a little bit,
Sorry, these
Leanna?
projects that Sustainable Connecticut has are just enormous. And because I want to try to get the equity toolkit going. I mean, I know Joanne is trying to focus on an arts project. And she's not here this month to talk to us. But if we could all, before our next meeting, take a look at the actions, take a look at the equity toolkit, and then think to ourselves, what is something that might make sense to try to do the equity toolkit with us as a group? I know, like with the land trust and a lot of the environmental things, we're going to be leaning on the land trust. We're going to be leaning on, the other environmental groups around. They've got a lot of that buttoned up. But there are action items, and we have to do one from each category that, are not, so well represented by other groups within the town. And so maybe kind of my thing is homelessness anyway, because in my prior life, every places I've ever lived, I've always done work with the homeless in terms of volunteering. And, maybe that, and I don't want it to be just my pet project, but, other people, maybe there's something we as a group could say, we're going to focus on this to get an action item done. I know Joanne has already tried to make some contacts within the community about the arts project, and she's talked to some people from the school. She's working on her inventory. But maybe we could come up with something that would make sense for the equity toolkit and one of these other action areas, which isn't getting huge attention from other groups within town. So if we could put our thinking caps on about that for the next meeting.
Okay.
And we could maybe come together and agree on something, because we've been a little, Amanda was working on poetry, we've spread ourselves thin and it's not getting stuff done. And I know the pandemic has been a problem. I know we're all volunteers and we don't have enormous time, but I'd like to see us get more done. And I think we'd all like to do that.
Sure.
So anyway, yes. And then next meeting would technically be on the 13th of April.
Yep.
I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be out of town that week and the week after. So you can either meet without me, which is perfectly fine with me, or we can just put it off and skip next month.
There's no reason why, I don't think there's any reason why I won't be able to attend that meeting. So I don't, but we can either keep it or reschedule, or what, it doesn't.
Since Joanne's not here, Leanna, do you want to send out an email to?
Sure, I'll just send it out and see what we want to do. And then one of you guys can run the meeting, because clearly I don't know the rules. I kind of looked at this whole thing when I signed up and I'm like, I just want to help the community out.
Right.
And
there are a lot of rules.
And the other things. And I'm like, somebody needs to send me these rules. So, I don't know.
We went over some of them, but there's clearly some that I missed, or
I kind of feel like
we
it's a
can
jack in the box. Every time I turn something in, I find out like, okay, let's add to the catalog of my deficiencies here. So,
no, Leanna, we're all doing the best that we can. And I don't think anybody's throwing any shade.
No,
anywhere.
I don't think anybody is either, but I feel like it gets in the way. And I understand that, I didn't even really realize we were a selectmen's committee until like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So there we have it. So, but not a government type of person. I was a patent lawyer.
Right.
So, intellectual property litigator with a
So
very good
just to
secretary. But
circle back,
Right, because
I'm
you have
gonna-
to go get in your car, right?
Yeah.
not quite yet, but
Okay,
for warning the meeting, I just want to make sure I have the right document from Adam. It's the letter that he sent
there's,
out.
he sent out an agenda. Well, I think he sent out an agenda. Let me just,
Okay.
double check.
I found a letter, but
could we attach his agenda?
Yeah,
Would that work?
Yep.
And that gets us off the hook for trying to read his mind.
Yeah.
Melissa, you
yeah,
think
and
so?
that's basically what I was gonna do, but I wasn't.
Yeah,
I
that's
wasn't-
fine. You just need to do that and include the Zoom link and you would be fine and have
Right.
the time of the start meeting, and that's all you need to do. I mean, you could cut and paste his agenda or you can just make a quick
Mhm.
summary.
Well, I'm
Oh,
just very
like
glad
that.
that we're meeting the number that he wanted.
yeah,
It sounds like it'll be the perfect thing for what he had requested. I guess he's done it enough times. He knew that how many yeses we would probably get. So,
Jean, were you gonna put the pollinator pathway resolution on the 17th, the meeting of March 17th?
Yep.
So I would hope that, you all can attend. I will have garden club people come and conservation people come so that it is well represented.
oh, and Jean, you needed to put Miranda on your technical membership.
yeah, we need to add, she was added as a member by the board.
Okay.
And we just need to get her added on the website.
Okay.
And then I will submit Amanda's. Oh, you know what? We need to make a motion before you leave, Miranda, to accept Amanda's resignation from the team
Okay.
so that I can take that to the board.
What we did is I suggested to her that, because what she didn't want to do it anymore. I said, well, we'll put in an official resignation. I didn't call it a resignation, but I said we would take her off the membership list. And if she wanted to come back at some point, we could get her reinstated as an active member. And she wrote me back, thanks, XO Amanda. So if you need that as
Yep.
proof, right?
Yeah, so
So,
if you.
so
yeah,
I
if
guess
you
I,
can-
I'll make a motion to remove Amanda from the subcommittee, the sustainability subcommittee.
With our thanks.
Yes, with our thanks.
Yes.
I'll second that
Melissa,
motion.
And so all in favor, yeah, and so
Aye.
she seemed very grateful. It seemed like a relief to not be on the membership to her anymore. So, I have a question, Melissa, and since you're here and you know all these things, Sustainable Connecticut, I've had so many people express interest, and I'll be frank, they're all environmental warriors, and I love environmental warriors, but they don't want to do the rest of it. And I
I
get
think
that.
I think the name is a
It's wrong.
confusion.
It should be Vibrant Connecticut.
Because
and I
yeah,
have
or
a-
something like that, because I do think that people express interest in it, and we had the same thing at Conservation Commission. People express interest in it thinking that it's all about sustainability and environmental sustainability, and I understand. I've been on their website many times. I think that, in order to avoid running into the membership issue that you guys have come up against, is you want to bring people in as either advisors on particular plans.
Right.
So you say to someone, Fred, that we'd love to have you join us for this meeting, and we are going to talk about this number of Kent sustainability, and we hope that you'll join us for this meeting so that we can discuss it.
Yeah.
And then you're not in violation of any FOI because you're doing it during your warned meeting, and you're still keeping your quorum.
I was wondering, could we create like a subcommittee of people who just want to do environmental stuff, and we can just send them off on their way?
No,
No,
you still, if you
they're
create
gonna
a
need-
subcommittee of a subcommittee, you still have to follow the FOI guidelines. The only way to go about it is that the Kent Sustainability did not need to be a subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen. It could be just like-minded individuals that are going at it on their own time, and then you wouldn't be bound by the municipal rules.
We reformulate ourselves that way so that we didn't have to.
I think
have
it's
all-
probably a little late at this point since it is now this, but I don't think
And
it's a
the- but-
problem, and I think
But
you can
Melissa, the
divide and conquer.
the resolution that Jessica gave us was, it didn't give us the option to be not not
think
have
it-
something to do with within the town government.
I think you could have probably adapted it so that it wasn't a municipal, but again, I think you're right. It
Yeah,
is too
the-
late because you have already adopted the resolution, you've formulated and you've progressed. That doesn't mean that you can't bring in people, experts or
Right.
groups, but you need
As
to
advisors, yeah, and they,
exactly.
Because I think, Melissa, I mean, my experience, in my workings with sustainable Connecticut people from other towns, and it's, again, this issue of the big towns versus the little towns. Like the bigger towns, cities, they actually have like a person in town government who's their designated sustainable Connecticut person who basically makes sure that I don't mess up. you
And
know?
truly, Leanna, when we talked about this at the Conservation Commission level, we thought it would be amazing if we could bring in a college intern to do exactly what you're saying for one summer, provide this municipal experience for this person that really kind of gets some things checked off. And that is their whether it be full-time or part-time, paid, unpaid, whatever, that's their intent. And then they bring you all together and you share what you've done and they share what they've done. And so they get this municipal experience that many of our students don't have opportunities for that kind of involvement.
So many of the actions contemplate leadership from the town government as opposed to leadership from somebody who lives on Macedonia Road.
Mhm.
Because you're supposed to be able to go in and it's not the first selectman's job to do this. I mean,
Nope.
but you go like, there was a gal from Hartford, she worked for town government. I mean, she had her job, but she had as a secondary job is basically shepherding the Sustainable Connecticut volunteers because, for most of us, because I've never had interest in being in town government, it's just opaque. I know there's that building there. I don't really know what goes on behind those walls. I just wanted to do some nice things for the town, and I have some background with the homeless. And that was-
I would say that, if you could find someone, and maybe this is a call out to in Jean's newsletter that says, we're looking for probably unpaid because we don't have the funding and it's not going in this year's budget, college intern that could kind of do the inventory of what's going on. And maybe they do sit in an office that lives in town hall, and maybe they do start collecting all this and then they feed you guys where the action items have to be. And so, I mean, it could be a great opportunity for a student. And it is one of those things where we have a shortage of jobs for students that come back to Kent from college and are looking for, an opportunity to get involved. And so creating that is an equity thing right there.
And maybe, they could submit a report at the end and get some college credit. I don't know how that would work. I mean, maybe somebody even from the Kent school. I mean, because Mike Benjamin approached us about joining this group.
Mhm.
And of course, it was like, well, I'm not, I'm an environmental guy and call me when you're going to do something environmental. It's just, like I said, it's unfortunate, the naming of it. Everybody thinks it's just an environmental group. I know I came at it not as an environmental thing. I'm interested in homelessness and things like that. But, obviously we don't have so much of that in town, but I'm kind of more the projects that deal directly with people. Whereas other, Joanne's into the arts, Amanda was into the arts, everybody kind of has their own bent, but we don't have the wherewithal or the resources to undertake these giant projects.
we do have to be cognizant of time and veering off the agenda.
This is.
I just want to,
Yeah, but anyway, I'm just, I'm just trying to figure out, how to make this work better. And any ideas
So-
people have, so.
So Holyoke College, where we got our intern from last summer, has this program, and you can go on their list and you can post your job. So if you wanted to formulate some kind of part-time internship and post it at some of these various colleges, and they paid her. She had to do a presentation in the fall, which we all attended. Some of those pictures were actually watching her.
Who
you know,
paid her?
Holyoke College paid her. The college pays her, and some of the other colleges have the same thing. And we've put in for, some more interns for this summer, but there's no reason you can't write a job description and post it there, and someone local definitely goes there. I know of other ones. There's one in Salisbury, also a Holyoke intern that is doing the same program. So, someone wants this job, and someone wants to be part of this community in that sense, and will be like a real asset if you can find the right person.
And Jessica may have somebody too. I'll ask her. 'Cause I know I'm not going to be here much of the summer, but then this is the problem. We're all kind of here in and out. Okay. So what we'll do
I mean-
is send out an email about trying to figure out when the next meeting is, and otherwise I'll adjourn.
And I will warn that meeting, and I guess I'll send you guys the agenda with the Zoom on it, just to have a second set of eyes on it before I send it to Darlene, but I will do
yeah,
that.
Miranda, I took Adams and I'm just adding, give me like 3 minutes and I'll have it out.
So
I was
Jean's-
trying to find it and I ended up I found it, converted it, and I'm adding the Zoom link and
Oh, okay, so
I'll send it. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you all to just take a quick look at, and then we can
Okay.
send it off.
Okay,
Good.
all right, so I guess we'll schedule the next meeting when we hear
Yeah, I'll
from.
send out an email, and that way, if you guys want to meet without me, that's perfectly fine. Otherwise, it would go into May. And I think, as you all know, I have a parent with dementia, and I'm trying to get a house dealt with in Florida. So I'm not going to be here a lot of the summer. So I may actually ask somebody to be I don't know, can you have a substitute chair or take over for a while? Because
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
need
happy
a
to-
forum and
Happy to run the meeting, but
Yeah, I don't know, because can somebody take a leave of absence if they have to? I'm gonna try like heck not to have to do that, but I've got a mountain of stuff to deal with on the personal front.
yeah, I need to just figure out how that works, but we need to still be able to have a quorum.
Yeah, Melissa,
so-
do you know?
Yeah, Jean's right. You just need to have a quorum, but you can step down temporarily as the chair. Miranda can step up through a motion, and then you would be all good for that and for warning the meetings and doing the minutes and all that.
Yeah, but if I don't attend, because I've
If
had
they
to
can
go,
have a quorum, then you're good. If
yeah, I
that
count
Right.
against the quorum.
it does,
We
but
We still
But-
need to have a quorum.
yeah.
But even if I say I've got to take a leave of absence for the summer, I'm still in the number.
I have to ask Tom Hennick. I'm not sure. Not,
I mean,
Really
it
don't
wouldn't it wouldn't be difficult maybe to step down through the Board of Selectmen, bring someone else in, and then reappoint her eventually. I mean, you're gonna find
Yeah,
this in other groups also, just small committees. They're gonna be a quorum issue always.
Like what we're doing with Amanda. Like she's just gonna step down, and if she wants to come back later and feels healthy and wants to do it, she can just.
we'd have to,
reappoint her.
it would
Make a
have to
motion
come,
and bring it. Yeah.
recommendation from the committee, and then it would have to go to the next Board of Selectmen meeting. So you're talking probably a month time frame. So let me, before we speculate anymore, let me just
Yep.
double check with Tom Hennick and see what we would need to do.
okay.
I appreciate that.
All right, I've got to duck out.
Okay. I think we're
Okay.
done. Unless somebody has something more pressing. Nope.
Nope.
Very good. So we will adjourn. It's 11:40 a.m. and we'll send an email out for when the next meeting will be. Okay,
Sounds good.
thank you, everybody.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Bye.